photosynthesize because of the algae in their tissues, which you're familiar with now. And that basically takes carbon dioxide and turns it into food, just like plants do on land. So that food, usually in the form of carbohydrates and fats and things like that, is eaten by a lot of the things on the reef. So there's a lot of fish that eat coral. There's little shrimp that nibble the mucus. There's a whole food chain based on coral itself. Fish like parrotfish that grind up coral and just take bites out of it. There's a lot of organisms that actually burrow and grind their way through coral, because it's kind of soft rock, so it's a great place to hide from things that want to eat you. If you go to the tropics where the coral reefs are, visibility is awesome because there's nothing in the water. There's very little plankton that can survive in those areas because there's not a lot of nutrients. So coral reefs providing a place for photosynthesis and all these other organisms to feed on what they produce, it creates kind of an oasis of life. So without coral reefs, there's not a lot of productivity. There's not a lot of plant productivity, essentially, in these waters. And so, therefore, there's not a lot of fish that people can use that live there.
It's a huge, huge industry around the tropics, everywhere. If the waves are breaking, that's good for surfers, but it also means that, the further out the waves are breaking, that means they're not breaking on beaches and shorelines and eroding shorelines.
So as that goes away, then you get a lot of energy that hits the ocean, hits the shoreline, and that's a real detriment to people. So especially in like storm events, hurricanes and things like that, if you don't have that coral reef, you're pretty much doomed. Coral bleaching is when that symbiosis breaks down, and the coral actually expels the zooxanthellae out of its body. And it does. Nobody knows exactly what the trigger of that is, but it's probably that at high temperatures the dinoflagellate starts to produce toxic compounds.
Yeah, I watched a TED Talk earlier today, and the way the woman described it is the zooxanthellae they get sick and they start producing free radicals, and the coral kind of goes into shock a little bit and tries to get rid of it so they don't get sick.
Right.
But
it's like if something inside you was burning you. You just have to get rid of it. So yeah, then they become transparent. The coral becomes transparent because it's lost these little things that have to color it up.
A bleached coral only has two ways to go. It's either going to recover or it's going to die.
Yeah.
And it only takes maybe a week or so to die. Recovery can take decades or centuries.
In fact, like 2/3 of all the CO2 we put in the atmosphere to date has already dissolved into the ocean, so it's not in the atmosphere. It's just a chemical process. It dissolves in the ocean, and it makes the ocean slightly less basic.
And any additional stresses are exacerbating the problem. So any sediment runoff, if they're in an area that's been overfished so that there aren't any grazers to keep the algae away. All of these add up. These are global processes, and we need to act as if we're part of this entire planet, and we are. So that is reduce greenhouse gas emissions every way that we can. Eat lower on the food chain is huge. Limit or avoid consumption of meat. Think about the forests that are cut down, but again, that's often to produce meat. So that would change things. Walk when you can. Don't drive. You don't have to. Things have changed in my life. We don't use aerosol cans of hairspray anymore. Things that add up. But awareness is big, so that we can keep pressure on industries to keep making the change. Moving from fossil fuel based economies to and energy use to ones that are more sustainable. It's not that hard to do.
It's so